Some of the greatest vineyards in all the world are hillside vineyards, and today we introduce you to one of the highest in all of Napa. Good to finally meet.
Welcome to have some noble wine with me.
Oh my goodness, my pleasure. And I love the wines, I love the label, I love the story. And I think what I really love is the location, how you decided, okay, I want to produce hillside wines. Why hillside wines, and what is special about them to you?
I think it's the character. The vines typically struggle. My little vineyard here on the top of the hill, there's probably less than 1.5 feet of ground soil. Yet I get off to the side of the vineyard. I'm at 5 or 6 feet, which is more typical valley floor.
Right.
So it's a little bit of a challenge on watering when you've got a hill. You have to water a little bit more on top, knowing some's going to roll down the sides.
I would imagine.
And I think it's just been proven that the hillsides, a lot of really fine wines come from.
And speaking of hillside, let's orient ourselves in the audience to where we are, because I'm looking down on Lake Hennessey.
You are?
And Lake Hennessey is a stone's throw from St Helena.
Right.
So walk us through, where in the heck are we? Because we're pretty high up as well.
We're at 1,500 feet.
Okay.
So there's probably only a handful of vineyards at that level in Napa Valley.
And so you've been passionate about hillside food for the kind of the complexity that it provides.
Correct.
So when did you get into wines? How does someone decide, you know what, I'm going to leave the Midwest and I'm going to go west and make wine and put my name on it?
My first career was actually in food and beverage. My father was a chef, worked at some big hotels, ran a university food service out in Illinois, but don't hold that against me. After I'd left the food and beverage industry, I went to work for my father-in-law in a wholesale supplier of specialized animal foods.
Always a smart move going to work for the father.
Well, it was. He just was a great guy. What do you think of the 2006?
I'm a big fan. Everything about it, I mean, it explodes out of the glass. The color is very concentrated. And I know part of that is obviously the fruit source is spectacular, but you also age the wines kind of, I love it because as the consumer, I don't have to.
Right.
So that's part of your philosophy.
It is exactly correct. Dave Lattin and I, who you can almost see the vineyard right behind me, that's made over actually at Coletto. I'm lucky being a neighbor that I get to make my wines there, and Dave has a great winemaking philosophy.
You won't release a wine, tell me the aging.
We usually, to date, the earliest we have released a wine's been 6 years.
Wow.
So which, right now our current releases are 2004 through 2007 Cabernets. It lets the consumer know a little bit more what the wine's going to taste like. And the fact there's a lot of talk out there about high alcohol wines don't age, that California wines don't age. Well, I like to think I can prove people wrong. What you do is pretty neat and pretty amazing, and being a small newcomer, it's nice to get my name out there in other markets. We're starting to do pretty well here in California, and just taken on our first New York distributor.
Excellent.
So now you can get my wine to the finer restaurants in New York City.
There's a few of them.
There's a few of them.
And you talked about being a small producer, and small is kind of sometimes a misnomer, but you really are micro boutique.
I guess if that's a term, yes.
I'm going to make it a term. It's a new term. Let's start using it.
Yes.
So what is case production? Because it's perfect.
We've never had a case a year over 1,000 cases.
All right.
Most of the time now we're averaging about 250 to 350. And
so essentially, if you can find it, get it.
I think it's not, when you look at the scope of the wine made in the world, we make a very small percentage of that wine.
Special thanks to George Noble today. Outstanding time. Do yourselves a favor, purchase as much as you can, and take advantage of the special case incentive. Thanks so much for all your support.